Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. As we've been doing for the past probably 5 years now, we're going to start this program off with the singing of the national anthem by the United States Army Barbershop Quartet. I would ask everyone now to please rise for the singing of the national anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it. America's finest right there.
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, singing the national anthem in the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. I want to thank all the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, wherever they might be, whether they're here in the United States or abroad. I also want to thank all of those military forces that are allies of the United States. I want to thank them for the service, not just to their country, but to the entire world, helping the United States of America be the police force for the entire world. Nobody understands that, or I should say very few people understand that the United States of America helps keep the peace all over the world and helps stop wars and contentions around the world. God bless our military. God bless all of our militaries around the world. May they all return home after their tours of duty end. May God bless you all, and thank you all for your service. Folks, I have a lot to talk about tonight. First, I want to talk about President Biden and what happened during the past, I want to say 72 hours. Okay? It's incredible what has happened. Okay? First off, Biden pardoned his son. Last night, Biden pardoned his son. An incredible pardon, guys. Very much an incredible pardon. Okay? Let me talk to you about that. Because I want everybody to understand why and how it happened. Okay? It's incredible. It truly is incredible. Before I get started, I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. I want to thank all of our mods as well. I want to thank those people that have contributed to our program in any way that they have, including monetarily. I want to thank Donna and her husband Gregory. I want to thank Juby Joe. All of you that continue to help fund this program. We appreciate all of you. NCWQ Rebecca is asking, did we get our package today? We did. Becky sent us a package full of Christmas presents. We're going to open them. We are going to put that under the Christmas tree tonight and open it on Christmas morning. Thank you for that. We appreciate you. I appreciate Juby Joe for sending us a donation last night. And again, Donna and Gregory also from the other day. It was actually, I believe, on Saturday. Thank you all so much. We appreciate you all more than you ever know. We appreciate your contributions to help keep this program on the air. And that's literally what it does. I want you to know that. Costs continue going up for us. And you guys help us keep the power on and keep this program on the air. For that, we appreciate you so much. God bless you all. Anyway, President Biden pardoned his son. What did Biden do? Not what did Biden do, what did his son do? Hunter Biden. First, before I show you a video, I want to show you the convictions that Hunter Biden had. President Joe Biden made a surprise announcement yesterday evening that he would pardon his son, Hunter Biden, even after he most generously said he wouldn't do it. For the past 2 or 3 months, reporters have asked him and asked the president's press secretary if Biden was going to pardon his son. Biden ultimately said no. He said no many times over the past few months, and his press secretary said the same thing. Joe Biden said, from the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision and their decision making. And I kept my word even as I have watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. It is clear that Hunter was treated differently. No, he wasn't, Joe Biden. Hunter Biden was not treated differently. If he was treated differently, no one would have prosecuted him for his crimes. What did Hunter Biden do? Hunter Biden was convicted in 2 federal cases earlier this year. A first for a sitting president's son. In June, Hunter Biden was convicted in a case over whether he lied about being addicted to drugs while buying a gun in 2018. He was found guilty on the following charges: lying on a federal screening form about his drug use. Let me show you that form. It's called a DROS form. It's called a DROS form. The top part of the form asks pertinent individual questions identifying the person trying to buy a gun. The bottom part of this form asked questions particularly about his background, which he lied about. Hunter Biden lied about his background, his drug use, lying to a drug dealer or a gun dealer, lying to a gun dealer, possessing a gun despite restrictions for people that are addicted to drugs. Just before another federal trial was scheduled to start in September, Hunter Biden pleaded guilty to 3 felonies and 6 more misdemeanors that alleged that he failed to pay $1.4 million in back taxes between 2016 and 2019. The sentencing for those cases was expected to occur in the next couple weeks. Biden's pardon also covered any offenses that he may have committed between January 1st, 2014, 10 years ago, and December 1st, 2024. So Biden pardoned him for even cases that were not yet come against him. So anything that the government or any other government could try Hunter Biden on, his father pardoned his crimes. Not commuted the crimes, but pardoned the crimes. Let me play the video for you so you'll fully understand what happened yesterday. Okay? Here was the written portion of the full and unconditional pardon. For those offenses against the United States, which he has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period from January 1st, 2014 to December 1st, 2024, including but not limited to all offenses charged or prosecuted, including any that may have resulted in convictions by Special Counsel David C. Weiss, in docket number 1.23-CR-00061-MN in the United States District Court for the District of Delaware, and docket number 2-23-CR-00599-MCS-1 in the United States District Court, the Central District of California. Biden pardoned his son for all those crimes. Let me play this video for you. His press secretary over and over told the press that Biden was not going to pardon his son.
No, it will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son?
No, because no one is above the law. That's right. Except for an 11-year period where Joe Biden pardoned his son, starting with his work in Ukraine.
Pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Hey, let me go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
We did. You've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute the sentence for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying it will not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
No.
He won't pardon his son. Really? Really? Well, he just did. He pardoned his son. of all crimes against him, whether they've been charged by now or not, that will keep him out of jail for the rest of his life unless he commits another crime after December 21st this year. Unreal. Juby Joe, this has nothing to do with deviating from our own sins. This has to do with President's son. And the President lying to the public. The President lying to the public about it. That's what I'm talking about. Then, another thing that happened last week. President Trump nominated Kash Patel to the office of Director of the FBI. This man, Kash Patel, he's a firebomb. He's been after people criminally that have caused harm to people here in the United States. He's worked for the DOD as a advisor against crime. He's worked for the National Security Agency and other things such as an advisor to President Trump during his last term. Now Kash Patel has been nominated and he will be the director of the FBI. Let's listen to see what Kash Patel is going to do.
Decrease what I call government creep with personnel. The FBI's footprint has gotten so freaking big, and the biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers and rapists and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title, looking for their parachute out of government. So while you're bringing in the right people, you also have to shrink government.
So massive government reform.
Yeah, you got to work with Congress to eliminate the billets. This is one of the things we did when I was deputy DNI. We got to DNI and I was like, okay, what do all these people do? We've got the CIA, so why do I have analysts doing the CIA's job here? Why do I have a floor of them? Like, give me a good answer. I don't know everything. I don't know a lot. But if you can give me an answer that satisfies their existence, I'm all in. Well, we just have our own people. Okay, well, now we don't. And we went to Congress and zeroed out a bunch of billets. And they hated us for it.
That, my friends, is the next director of the FBI. The one and only Kash Patel. Trump did it. Over the weekend, Trump sent shockwaves throughout the swamp by nominating the deep state's worst nightmare.
Kash Patel is going to be the deep state's worst nightmare. Because Kash Patel, being head of the FBI, is going to go after the deep state. He's going to go after the deep state. Who else? Mr. Comey. He used to be the director of the FBI. He used to be director of the FBI. And his lover sent emails and text messages between themselves about what they were going to do to President Trump and make sure President Trump never became president again. And other deep staters such as Obama and even Biden for their wrongdoing. He's going to go after those people that made the average citizen's life hell. As you heard him say, Kash Patel is going to nail their butts to a tree. He's going to nail their butts to a tree. He's going to clean out the FBI. Now, I need to tell you this. There are a lot of FBI agents who are resigning right now. There are a lot of FBI agents resigning right now because they were involved in what has happened to the people of the United States. Lying and cheating that's gone on. The FBI is cleaning house right now. Now, I didn't know this. There are over 7,000 FBI agents. And Kash Patel is going to kick them out of the Hoover Building in Washington, D.C. Going to kick them out and lock it up. And he said the next day he's going to turn the Hoover Building into FBI museum. He's going to kick the FBI agents out and back out into the states and the cities to be cops, to go after murderers and drug dealers and people that have violated the laws of the United States, doing their darn job. That's what's going to happen. That is exactly what's going to happen. President Trump is going to use this man to do the job that no other president has ever been able to do. Going to clean house. Going to clean house. President Trump has yet to name an FBI director. He's yet to name an FBI director. Now, I've spoken to our buddy over on his show, Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino said he's not going to become the director of the Secret Service. He said he's not been asked yet. And he said he's not going to take it. Dan Bongino said he's going to continue to do his show. And continuing to do his show, he said he's going to have more of an effect than if he was the Secret Service director. That says a lot. That says a lot. Why? Because Dan Bongino keeps exposing the bad people out there that have been a thorn in our side for years. So I hope that's what Dan Bongino does. But on the same token, I'm hoping President Trump will appoint a Secret Service director that will do their darn job. That will do their darn job. Because not only does the President of the United States, the Vice President, and other appointees from President Trump's administration deserve protection, but the people who threaten these people need to be brought to justice, including those people that threatened President Trump's nominees the day before Thanksgiving. Each and every one of those people deserve to be in jail. Not just jail, prison. They deserve to be in prison. And in prison for the rest of their lives. You don't threaten somebody's life. You don't threaten their livelihood. But if they've done something, they deserve to go to prison. Period. You just don't do those kinds of things. You threaten their lives and threaten their families' lives. Threaten to bomb their homes. What a bunch of crap. It's all political nonsense. It's all political nonsense. It's all coming to a head now. Now, I don't expect it to completely go away. During the next 59 days, I fully expect the deep state to continue going after President Trump, threatening his life, in fact. I fully expect to see more people try to take out Trump, to keep him from taking over the presidency, because they know that President Trump means business. And I also believe that J.D. Vance also means business. To the deep state that are listening to this program, you better get out of town. You better get out of town, because we're coming for you. Each and every one of us are coming for you. Get out of our towns, get out of our cities, and get out of our country. Get out of here. And don't you dare ever mess with the United States of America again, because we will find you and we will take you out. Promise. Promise. There are those of us that have that capability. And while I'm saying that, I'm asking that each and every one of you make sure you are prepared for anything that might happen. Protecting yourselves, protecting all that you work for, and helping others protect themselves as well. Make sure you have training. Make sure you have training, but make sure you can protect yourselves and everybody else, because we don't want the deep state anywhere near us. And I don't care whether you live in another country besides the U.S. We're going to help protect you as well. And we will use every penny, every person that we have to help protect everybody. What has been happening is going to stop. It's going to stop, including the cluster of false information that's been out there. The mainstream media is going to go away. The mainstream media is going to go away. Elon Musk is trying to buy, as we speak, MSNBC. And I believe that he's probably going to buy YouTube and Google, lock, stock, and barrel, to keep them from doing what they've done. YouTube, you better get right, and you better get right now, immediately. Otherwise, what has gone on will not continue. Period. You better understand that. And you better understand that right now. We're not going to allow it to happen any longer, period. Those of you that continue to censor us, not just this program, but anybody else. If you continue to do wrongdoing, you're going to be up to your ears in trouble. You're going to be up to your ears in trouble, and I can promise you that. Because I have already spoken to Elon Musk. And he's also passed the information on to President Trump. For those that have ears, let them hear. For those that have ears, let them hear. You need to get your acts together immediately. Okay? Anyway, guys, I have a lot of other things to talk about tonight. I want to talk about earthquakes. Quite a few earthquakes have been going on around the world. Let's show you those earthquakes right now. Just a second, it looks like USGS didn't want us to show you that. But we will. I promise you, we'll show you. There we go. First off, before we address the earthquakes in North America, I want to address earthquakes around the world. Okay? Let's go over here to the Middle East. Notice the USGS is not showing you anything in Europe. Well, I'm going to talk about earthquakes in Europe because USGS continues to lie. Like I said before, those agencies within the United States government that continue to lie and deceive people, your days are numbered. Your days are numbered. That I promise you. You can be replaced. And you will be replaced. Let's go over here, okay? This is the Cyprus region over here in the Eastern Mediterranean, okay? This is a 4.1 earthquake just south of Cyprus. Notice on the map what we're talking about here. Okay? This is just south of Cyprus on that Anatolian earthquake fault. The Anatolian earthquake fault. Where does it come from? It comes from over here in the Turkey-Syria border region. And the USGS is still not showing all the earthquakes here. There are probably close to 52 earthquakes here, as I counted them earlier. 52 earthquakes in this region that the USGS is not showing. Why? Because all these earthquakes that are here that they're not showing us, those are aftershocks of a major earthquake that happened here February 3rd, 2023. For those of you that weren't with us, and for those of you that were, we talked about a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake here on the Anatolian Fault in the Turkey-Syria border region. Thousands of earthquakes hit here. Thousands of aftershocks hit here as a result of that earthquake. Over 5,000 people were killed, made unalive. Over 5,000 people were also injured. And today, nearly 2 years later, we are still seeing aftershocks. This is what we expect to have when the Cascadia megathrust earthquake happens in the Pacific Northwest. Aftershocks continue to happen for years. Yes, some of those aftershocks are tremors, but some of those aftershocks are also minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.9. Some of those earthquakes are 3.0, 3.9, small quakes. Some of those earthquakes are moderate quakes, 4.0, 4.9. Others are large 5.0 to 5.9 earthquakes. But they're happening here as a result of the 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that happened here, again, February 3rd, 2023. We covered it. Did you also not know, or maybe you didn't know about it? But there was also a great big huge 14-mile long fissure that opened up in the earth. great big huge canyon opened up in the earth as a result of that earthquake. That fissure was so deep that it could contain an 18-story building. That's how deep that big huge fissure was. And it's still there. It has not gone away, nor will it. That's because of this huge earthquake that happened. An earthquake aftershocks are continuing in this area. And USGS continues to not show them. But occasionally we will see this earthquake like this. A 4.3 on the lower southern side of the Anatolian Fault. This again just south of Cyprus. There are other earthquakes in southern Turkey, northern Turkey, and over in western Turkey. They're not showing those earthquakes either. They're not showing any earthquakes here in Greece. None. Why not? Inquiring minds want to know. Right now there are over 23 to 25 earthquakes here in Greece, including down here in Crete. This is the island of Crete here, which is a resort area of Greece. And over here on the western side of Turkey, all the islands here on the western side of Turkey belong to Greece. They're called the Volcanic Islands. Some of these islands we have 1.2, 1.7 tremors. Others have 2.3 to 2.7 earthquakes as well. Minor earthquakes here. We've seen moderate earthquakes over here around Crete, Greece, and in Crete, Greece. Moderate earthquakes, we've also seen 5.0 earthquakes here as well. And over here in mainland Greece, most of these earthquakes are 1.0 to 2.8. 1.0, 2.8. However, over here in the western islands of Greece, we have a 3.5 and a 3.7 earthquake over here. Now the Anatolian Fault works its way over here to the western side of Greece. Then it comes over here to Italy. Comes over here to Italy and Sicily. And we have earthquakes in southern Italy here. We have 23 earthquakes here in central Italy. Most of these earthquakes are tremors. Tremors. And because we have so many earthquakes here, we're expecting a large earthquake to happen here at any time. Anytime you see these swarms of earthquakes like we're seeing here, even though USGS has not shown them to us, anytime we see these kinds of earthquakes here, be guaranteed there's a larger earthquake coming. Northern Italy around the Alps Mountains, ALPS Mountains. The northeastern side here, there are earthquakes. Earthquakes over on the northwestern side as well. Germany, Switzerland, and France. Germany, Switzerland, and France have earthquakes here. Not just in the mountains of the Alps, but over here in the foothills of the Alps, and over here in the plains of France. They're here. I don't know why that happened. I'm going to bring it back here. Right here. Okay? This area right here. You can see hills here. This is the border region of France and Spain. Normally we have 2.0, 2.7, and even 1.5 tremors here. Today we have a 1.5 and a 2.8 earthquake here in the border region of Spain and France. Over here in Spain, we have a handful of earthquakes here in Spain. Most of these earthquakes are in southern Spain. Just so you know. Heidi Petrick just gifted 5 people Emergency Management Associate memberships. Tanya Ramirez, Panda C, Starbright, Lori Lou, and Double D received memberships from Heidi Petrick. Those of you who received memberships should thank Heidi Petrick for that. Heidi does this on a regular basis. Thank you so much, Heidi, for your generosity. We appreciate it, and I know our members do as well. We're trying to grow our channel, and that's one way we can grow our channel, by becoming members on this channel. Just below this video that you're watching today, in the program description, just below this video you're watching today, there is an area that you can click on where you can become a member of our program, a member of the emergency management team here. There are 3 membership levels: $1.99, $2.99, and $3.99. Most channels, the membership costs are higher than that, a lot higher. A channel that I watch, no, I'm not a member of it, but a channel I watch, the cost to be members is $50 a month. I don't do that. But I do watch that channel because I find it very interesting. But I keep the membership costs here reasonable so anybody can become a member on this channel. And yes, we do occasionally have members-only shows here. I was going to do one Saturday and I got caught up with my wife and decorating our home. And yes, we're going to show you pictures of our home, because Carol is very design happy. She's good at it. Yes, I lend a hand as well. We're decorating for Christmas. And we appreciate each and every one of you that helps us here. Helps us here keep this channel on the air. Yes, memberships help keep this channel on the air as well. But we appreciate that. Also, in the top of our program here, at the top of our program description here, just below this video, we have our email address. If you desire to send us information or give us critiques on our program, please do so. We'd love to hear from you. Our email address is rltnspdema@gmail.com. Also down at the top of our program description, we have our mailing address, 104 North Green Street, Box 105, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code is 28655. Right below that, we have our PayPal addresses, where you can send us donations to PayPal. You don't have to do it, contribute right through the super chat here on YouTube, but you can if you want. But you can also make sure that YouTube doesn't take any money from your super chats by sending your donations direct to us through PayPal. PayPal might take 1.25%, where YouTube takes 40 to 50% of every dollar that you send to us. So we appreciate you all helping contribute to our program. We really do appreciate that so much. Anyway, getting back to the earthquakes here. Over here in the Azores, just south and west of Spain, the Azore Islands have some minor earthquakes. 2.3, 2.7 earthquakes just south of Portugal and south and west of Spain here. The Azore Islands here. Going further south over here to the Canary Islands off the coast of Africa here. The Canary Islands. The Canary Islands belong to Spain. We have some tremors continuing to hit the Canary Islands. Nothing big at all. Just 1.2, 1.5 tremors. We go further out into the Atlantic Ocean here, into the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. We have another 4.9 earthquake here on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge that USGS doesn't want to show it. Interesting. A 4.9 earthquake that's probably actually a 5.0. And they don't want to do that. Unreal. They don't want to do that. Last week we showed you an earthquake over here in the South Sandwich Islands in the southern end of the Atlantic Ocean. Those 5.0 earthquakes make their way up the Mid-Atlantic Fault. Make their way up the Mid-Atlantic Fault all the way here to Iceland. All the way here to Iceland. Now, we still have a volcano erupting over here in the Reykjanes Peninsula. Over here in the Reykjanes Peninsula. Excuse me. I hate my sinuses, guys. I hate my sinuses. I really do. They drive me crazy. Down here in the Reykjanes Peninsula here, you see the town of Grindavik. Okay? So far, Grindavik has had no problems with the present eruption. But the eruption here is far north of Grindavik. Way up here. Okay? Right smack dab on the Mid-Atlantic Fault that goes through Greenland here, or Iceland. Right smack dab down the middle of Iceland here. Okay? Huge fault zone. Huge fault zone. But we have an erupting volcano here now. We have an erupting volcano. This started out with a fissure eruption. The fissure started to close. It now has only 2 craters left. It had 3 craters last week. It has 2 craters left. However, we can't get close enough here to show you exactly what's happening here. Okay? What you see here is the Svartsengi power plant. It's a geothermal power plant where men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of the volcano here to harvest steam, to power turbines, generate electricity over here for the people of Iceland. For them doing that, they're also pulling water out of the ground, heated water from the volcano, to heat homes all over Iceland. The hot water heats homes all over Iceland and provides hot water for the population of the island. It also has cold water here that provides cold water to every person that lives here on Iceland. Now something else is going on. Let me see if I can bring this same photograph up on my device, because I can go close in and zoom in and show you what is actually going on. Whereas I can't do it here on the USGS map. They don't want me to show it to you, do they? Oh, heck no. They definitely don't want to show me showing this to you. Too bad. So sad. Let me leave this map here for a minute so I can show you what I have to show you here. Okay? Let me turn on the webcam here. Here you go. See the Mid-Atlantic Fault? Stretches all the way through Iceland, doesn't it? Stretches all the way through Iceland. And yet this is the Reykjanes Peninsula. The Mid-Atlantic Fault is just north and west of Greenvik, doesn't it? Just north and west of Greenvik, huh? Right there. There's the town of Greenvik. Now let's go north here, okay? What you see here is the Svartsengi power plant. And just to west of the power plant is the Blue Lagoon Spa. Okay? Notice where the highway is. Notice where the highway is. Well, guys, the magma here that's covering the ground, we're not showing you the magma that's actually covering the ground. The magma worked its way north and south over here to the Svartsengi power plant and the Blue Lagoon Spa. There's been a great lot of activity. The country of Iceland and its authorities have built a huge wall around the Svartsengi power plant and the Blue Lagoon Spa so they can stay open, so the power plant can continue to provide power and water to the island of Iceland. Okay? There's a closer picture of the power plant here and the spa. Okay? The power plant. The power plant is right there. The Blue Lagoon Spa is right there. Okay? Now, something else is happening. I told you that the fissure that had opened up is way over here. Way over here. The lava from the eruption has gone down here towards the power plant and the spa here. However, underground, right here, underground, under the power plant and the spa, there is a huge magma reservoir. And the magma is working its way up underneath the Blue Lagoon Spa and the power plant. And authorities from the University of Iceland, including my friend Professor Thorvaldsson, is monitoring it. They have instruments on the ground monitoring the rise of the magma underground. Everybody's praying that the rise of magma from under the ground is going to stop, so as not to endanger or open up underneath the spa or open up under the power plant. If that happened, there would be catastrophic results. There would be catastrophic results because we would have another eruption just over there at the power plant and the spa. Okay? I want to make sure you guys all see this. This is important. This is important because this is happening right now as we speak. Okay? It's happening right now as we speak. And it's a sad state of affairs. If that power plant goes down, the majority of electricity will be shut off because that power plant provides most of the electricity to the island. There is one other power plant. There's one other power plant closer to Reykjavik. to the north and west of the power plant. This is Reykjavik, Iceland. This is the capital of Iceland. Just east of Reykjavik, there's also another power plant. Right there. This power plant only provides about 25% of the power, cold and hot water, to the island. Meaning, Smart is saying it provides 75% of it. And the Blue Lagoon Spa is one of the biggest tourist advantages to the island. If the Blue Lagoon Spa was lost, there goes the economy of Iceland. And if they lose the power plant, they would have to start all over. So everybody needs to pray for them as well. That's how bad it is. I should say not bad, that's how serious this situation is in Iceland. It's no joke. That's how bad this situation is in Iceland. I kid you not. I've been watching it since this volcano first erupted. We also thought that when this eruption happened, that the lava on the ground would go east and west, away from the power plant and away from other life and civilization, so it wouldn't bother anyone. Most of the eruptions here in Iceland have done just that. Most of the eruptions up until last year happened way down here in the southern part of the Reykjanes Peninsula here. Most of it. But now the volcano has continued to erupt and it's gone northward. It's gone northward. Yes, it has followed the west side of the Mid-Atlantic Fault. You see the Mid-Atlantic Fault here on your map. Let me take down my camera here so you can actually see what I'm showing you. Okay? Most of the eruptions have followed the west side of the Mid-Atlantic Fault. But they got very close to Greenvik here. Eruption got just outside of the west side of Greenvik here. And they actually had 3 homes burned down. 3 homes burned down here near the main road here. This main road comes out of Reykjavik and comes down here to Greenvik. We had an eruption that closed this main road. Actually, it was 2 eruptions. The second eruption opened up, and that is what threatened and burned down 3 homes on the western side of Greenvik. After that, authorities built a huge wall around Greenvik, 85 feet high. Another wall went up around the power plant, over here, and the Blue Lagoon Spa. They had to raise the height of the wall around the Blue Lagoon and the Svartsengi power plant. Because the eruption here, the lava came up upwards and kept piling up and up and up. Over the previous eruption, lava beds kept raising up, and they said that if the lava had gotten to the top of the wall, it could have come over here into the power plant, which would have endangered the power plant. And they've now raised the height of the walls even higher to protect the power plant and also to protect the Blue Lagoon Spa here to the west. Okay? That's what's going on here. Now this last eruption out here. See where this parking lot is here? This parking lot is on the outside of the present wall. lava from this present eruption we have now has completely covered this parking lot and destroyed this building that you see here on the east side of the parking lot. The wall is just east of there, but the wall protected the Blue Lagoon Spa. But this eastern parking lot has been completely covered in lava now, and that building destroyed. That's what's happened now. Now, they are all hoping, everyone is hoping, the next eruption won't come until at least March or even April or May. And then it will be even further north. Now, that great big huge magma reservoir underneath the Svartsengi power plant and the spa, it keeps flowing up here towards the north as well. There is a magma chamber over here running north. And the pressure of the magma underground is poking into the rock here, fracturing the rock. Fracturing the rock here. And they're hoping it continues to fracture and goes north. That way it will not endanger anybody's property or even endanger the spa or the power plant again. That's what they're hoping. Now, even this map doesn't do justice about what's actually happened today. Let me take down this map again. I want to show you what's actually happened here. Out here way west, probably 200 miles west, over towards Reykjavik Island. Or Reykjavik, not Reykjavik Island. Reykjavik is the capital of Iceland. Okay? Right here, we have an earthquake. Okay? About 200 miles north of the spa and the power plant. This is a minor 2.0 earthquake here. A minor 2.0 earthquake here. Now, I'm going to increase the size of this map so you can see what we're talking about here. Okay? Now I'm showing you more of the west side of Iceland here. This is nowhere close to the Mid-Atlantic Fault. But there's a 2.0 earthquake there. Now, will it continue to endanger the public? I doubt it. I don't think this earthquake is going to have anything to do with any further damage. Okay? But there are over 200 volcanoes on the island. There are over 200 volcanoes over here on Iceland at any one point in time. Several of those volcanoes could erupt. 4 of those volcanoes have erupted in the last 40 years. 4 of those volcanoes have erupted in the last 40 years. Okay? So those people over in Iceland are really wondering what's going to happen next. Okay? They're really questioning what's going to happen. And I believe they have right to do that. Because their very lives and livelihood have a lot to do with what's going on. Their very lives and livelihood have a lot to do with what's going on. Now, I want to show you something here too. See over here where this 2.0 earthquake is over here? Guess what? Reykjavik is all the way down here. This is the capital of Iceland here. This is Reykjavik. Okay? Now, there's Reykjavik, and down here is Greenavik. Reykjavik and Greenavik here. opposite sides of the Mid-Atlantic Fault. Now, what have we been telling you about the Mid-Atlantic Fault? The Mid-Atlantic Fault is expanding. The Mid-Atlantic Fault here in the Atlantic Ocean is expanding. It's pushing Africa and Europe in an easterly direction. At the same token, it's pushing North America and Mexico, including Canada, the United States, and Mexico, in a south-southwesterly direction. It's pushing us in a south-southwesterly direction. Now, with that said, do we have any fear of what's going on? We're getting earthquakes over in Europe, aren't we? Because the Mid-Atlantic Fault is putting pressure on Spain, putting pressure over on Scandinavia, putting pressure over in France and other parts of Europe over there. Big time. But on the same token, we are seeing earthquakes over here in the United States. We're seeing earthquakes here in the United States. Now, they just took an earthquake down here in the United States. Again, let me get rid of my mug here, and let's go over here to the USGS map here. Let's see if the USGS has taken the map earthquake off of the United States. No, it has not. This is actually in Canada. This earthquake is over here in northeastern Canada. This is a 3.5 small earthquake. Miramichi, Canada. Miramichi, Canada. I believe this is northwest Nova Scotia. Northwest of Nova Scotia, if I'm right about my directions. A 3.5 small earthquake west of Miramichi, Canada. 84 kilometers west of Miramichi, Canada. Okay? Now, I don't know why the USGS decided to show us that. Rarely do we ever have any earthquakes shown in Canada on the USGS map. Rarely. This time it happened. This time. There are other earthquakes all over the West Coast, and I did not I did not plan on showing you those earthquakes tonight. However, I've shown you most of the other earthquakes around the globe. Over here in southern Mexico, or not southern Mexico, over here in South America, there are 17 earthquakes here in South America. Those are all on the western shores of South America. Why is USGS only showing us one earthquake here? Northern Chile, Tocopilla, Chile. Tocopilla, Chile. This is a 4.0 earthquake. There are other 4.0 and 4.5, 3.5, 3.7, 2.5, 2.7s, all over here along the southern shore of South America, including Peru. Why is USGS only showing us one earthquake? Because that's what USGS does. Sometimes they don't show any earthquakes here in South America. They just don't. They don't. Over here in Central America, Guatemala, just off the coast of Guatemala today. Folks, this is a 4.0 earthquake. 4.0 moderate earthquake here. 23 kilometers just offshore of La Gomera, Guatemala. There are 14 other earthquakes here in Central America. Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador. Why are they not showing all the other earthquakes here? Inquiring minds want to know. Why are they not showing the 35 earthquakes here in southern Mexico? 35 earthquakes. None of them lower than a 3.4 earthquake. 3.4 to 4.7 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. Why are they not showing any of those earthquakes? Inquiring minds want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Why are they not showing them? They're too lazy? Too lazy, too stupid? The Democrats don't want them to show them? Oh yeah, that's probably part of it. Democrats don't want anybody to know what's going on. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. Now, look at this. Southern California, 50 plus earthquakes. 50 plus earthquakes here. As I said before, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on. It's just not Southern California, Northern California as well. 20 plus earthquakes in Southern California. Most of those in the area of Los Angeles, San Diego, and the Imperial Valley just to the north of San Diego County. Also earthquakes over in Los Angeles area, and even earthquakes over near San Francisco, and north of San Francisco. Earthquakes over here in the Pacific Northwest. That's where we're headed right now. I want to show you earthquakes in the Pacific Northwest. Plenty of them. Plenty of them. But the problem is, they're not willing to show you what is actually going on. This is a 1.4 tremor. The southern side of Mount Hood. Government Camp Timberline, Mount Hood. A 1.4 tremor, 1.45 tremor. Government Camp, Mount Hood. Now, I want to show you this, okay? This is Mount Adams. This is Mount St. Helens here. This is Mount Rainier. Do you see? This is a European map, by the way. This is a European map. Usually Europeans are showing us more earthquakes. Why are they not showing the earthquakes? They're not showing tremors, and they're not showing full-blown earthquakes. 2.0 to 4.0 earthquakes. They're not showing them. No, we don't have any 4.0 earthquakes today at Mount Hood, Mount St. Helens, or Mount Rainier. However, we do have at least one earthquake, 3.0 and larger, at Mount Hood, at Mount St. Helens, and at Mount Rainier. And I'm going to show you those earthquakes right now on the seismographs. You need to know what's going on. And we are going to show you those earthquakes now. Okay? Now, my buddy Mary Greeley, bless her heart. Mary Greeley showed us earthquakes over at Mount St. Helens today. 2.3 and 2.7 earthquakes at Mount St. Helens. But that's not all, folks. There's more earthquakes than that. And even the United States Geological Survey is not showing them on their map. Actually, before I show you these earthquakes, before I show you these seismograms, I want to show you the earthquakes they are showing on the USGS map. So let's pull this map down here, okay? Over here in the southern side of the Cascadia subduction zone, we have one earthquake here. This is southeast of Petrolia, California. Southeast of Petrolia, California. This is a 1.4 tremor. Petrolia, California is over here on the coast of Northern California right here. This is Petrolia, California. There are some earthquake faults here. This earthquake fault that comes out of the triple junction right here. The triple junction. The San Andreas fault.
Islands region. Class light magnitude 4.4. 27 minutes ago.
The San Andreas fault comes out of the triple junction, and then it goes south along the coastline of California here until it reaches San Francisco. Then it starts to go east and south throughout California. The San Andreas Fault. Up here at the triple junction, we have the Gorda Escarpment out here. It goes west away from the San Andreas Fault, the Gorda Escarpment. The fault line that runs north is the Cascadia subduction zone. Where the Cascadia subduction zone is, and the Gorda Escarpment, and the San Andreas Fault. Where those faults meet is called the triple junction. The only earthquake we have is southeast of Petrolia, California here, in the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. Now, they're not showing any earthquakes here off the coast of the Cascadia subduction zone, nor off the Juan de Fuca Fault, which is the fault just west of the Cascadia subduction zone out here. This zigzag fault line is the Juan de Fuca Fault. Juan, J-U-A-N, de, D-E, Fuca, F-U-C-A, Juan de Fuca Fault. The zigzag fault line just west of the Cascadia subduction zone. Both fault lines go over here to the southern end of Queen Charlotte Island, what is now being called Haida Gwaii. Okay? The Cascadia subduction zone runs south along the coastline of British Columbia, Canada, and all the way south here to the triple junction. All the way on the west side of Oregon and Washington and British Columbia, Canada. Today, USGS is showing us several earthquakes here. Right here. They're saying this is a 1.7 tremor explosion. 1.7 tremor explosion out here. This is not an explosion, guys. 2 kilometers east of Grand Falls, Washington. This is not an explosion. What is this, Ron? Guess what? This is in a forested area. This is what we want to call either an exploding tree, spontaneous combustus carnivorous, an exploding tree, or it's just a tremor out here. Well, guess what? Many thousands of years ago, this area was covered in lava. Why then would we have an area covered by lava out here? And now it's covered by trees and grassland. Folks, This is just one more tremor over here in the Cascadia subduction zone region. The Cascadia subduction zone region, guys. Region. There are also a lot of volcanoes here. A bunch of volcanoes here. Let's go south here. Okay, out here, we have Mount Rainier here. They're only showing one seismic event here. They're calling this a surface quake, a 0.0 surface quake, just tiny shaking at the surface. But folks, this is not a 0.0 quake. It's not a surface quake at all. This is 10 miles deep. I'm sorry, not 10 miles, I'm sorry. It's 9.9 kilometers deep. 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. This is not a surface quake. And they're showing this to be west of Mount Rainier. I'm telling you folks, there's more seismic events here at Mount Rainier than they're showing here on the map. South of there, this is a 1.0 tremor. Allegedly, 6 kilometers southwest of Packwood, Washington. Fascinating. Really fascinating, guys. Guess what? It's nowhere near Packwood, Washington. This is Mount St. Helens. They're not showing any activity at all here at Mount St. Helens. Fascinating. Because guess what? I'm going to show you plenty of activity here at Mount St. Helens as well. Let's go south of Mount St. Helens. This is Mount Hood. They're showing this earthquake to be on the west side of Mount Hood. USGS is calling this a 1.5 tremor. They're saying it is 8 kilometers north-northeast of Government Camp. Let me show you where Government Camp is, just so you know. This is Government Camp down here. This is in the foothills of Mount Hood. In the southern foothills of Mount Hood. And yet this earthquake is over in Mount Rainier. I'm not Mount Rainier, I'm sorry, Mount Hood. This is over on the western flank of Mount Hood. They say this is 8 kilometers north-northeast of Government Camp. It's not. This might be 8 kilometers north-northwest of Mount Hood. North-northwest, not north-northeast. I have criticized USGS and their directions. They don't know what they're talking about again. I'm going to show you seismograms now of exactly what is going on. On Mount Baker, just south of Canada, just south of the Canadian border. I'm going to show you earthquakes at Mount Rainier. I'm going to show you earthquakes at Mount St. Helens. And I'm going to show you earthquakes at Mount Hood. Not on the northeast side of Mount Hood at all. Incredible. It's incredible what the USGS wants to show you and what they don't want to show you. They're definitely not showing the truth to anybody at all. Let's first go up to Mount Baker, just south of the Canadian border. This is a seismogram from Mount Baker. The main seismogram at Mount Baker, MBW2. They used to have a seismogram that's called MBW. They since taken MBW1 down, or MBW period down. Now they have MBW2. This is the main seismogram. As you can see, we're showing nothing but tremors most of the time. Nothing but tremors, side to side, top to bottom. Every line here is 15 minutes long. Every horizontal line here is 15 minutes long. 15 minutes worth of time. The thicker the lines here, the more magma coming into the magma chamber. And yes, you can see some thicker lines here. We can see some vertical lines. These are a little bit larger than just tiny tremors. The tremors you're seeing here are magma. Magma causing minor tremors here at Mount Baker. However, over here to the right on this black line, this would be approximately 1:13 this morning. This is like a 1.8 tremor. 1.8 tremor here at Mount Baker this morning. Going back down here, further here on this seismogram. Okay? Again, you're seeing tremors here. On the blue line here after 6 a.m. Over on the left-hand side, you see 0600. 06 a.m. this morning on the black line. The blue line here would be 6:30. Okay? Over on this blue line to the right, 6:06, we have a tiny tremor. Then over at 7:30 on the next blue line below that, you see an area here that's about a ½ inch long. That's where more magma at the time came into the magma chamber of Mount Baker. Okay? Thicker line getting thinner again after that. Then I take you over here on the black line just right to the right of 9 a.m. The black line here is 9 a.m. over on the left-hand side. Where you see the next thicker line here on the black line is 9:04 a.m. Again, it's a tiny 1.2, 1.3 tremor. Then I'm going to take you down over to 1300. 13 over on the left-hand side is actually 1 p.m. 1300 hours military time is 1 p.m. Then we go down the line on the black line to the right, where you see the next seismic experience here, seismic event. This is 1:06 p.m. this afternoon. Again, this is a 1.6, 1.7 tremor. You can see magma here. The magma coming into Mount Baker is causing the rock to fracture, causing tremors here. Rock fracturing of the magma inside the volcano is causing tremors here. Then we go out further to the right. Approximately 1:11 p.m. this afternoon. Again, what you're seeing here is 1.7, 1.8 tremors here to the right. You can see an uplift of magma here. The line gets thicker here. As the line gets thicker, it's causing tremors to happen here. Rock fracturing inside Mount Baker here. That's why you see these thicker lines here. More magma coming in, causing rock fracturing here. And you can see tiny vertical lines coming out of the black line. Rock fracturing here in the volcano. Okay? That's Mount Baker. Let me show you another seismogram here. Again, it's out Mount Baker. This time, the seismogram I'm going to show you is all screwed up by the seismologist. In this case, this is the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network that is showing us this seismogram. This is Baker Shuckson. Shuckson is a ski resort. Now, what you're seeing here are actually earthquakes happening and tremors happening here at Mount Baker. But you're seeing a lot of white paper here. This is digital, it's not paper. This is digital seismogram. Where you see the white is where the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network scientists, the seismologists, turned off the seismograph. They turned off the seismograph. The horizontal lines you see here are magma, except the thicker blue and thicker red lines here. The thicker blue and thicker red lines here are artifact. They're trash. But where you see these other lines, it's actually magma coming in to the magma chamber here at Mount Baker. The vertical lines you see are actually earthquakes happening at Mount Baker. That blue line here that is after 3:30 this morning, approximately 3:43 this morning, we're seeing tremors happening, tremors and minor earthquakes happening here at Mount Baker. That's what you see here, tremors and minor earthquakes. The longer vertical seismic events here are minor earthquakes. The very smaller ones are tremors here. Now I take you down to the bottom red line here. This bottom red line is actually 3:15 on the left-hand side. 3:15 p.m. on the left-hand side. We come over here to the right. Folks, this is 3:21 p.m. today. 3:21 p.m. we have a 2.7 earthquake. 2.7 minor earthquake. The upper blue line there with the activity, largest activity is 2.0. This earthquake on the red line is at least a 2.7, maybe a 2.8 minor earthquake. This gives you an idea of the activity here at Mount Baker. But again, they are not showing us the truth. They are lying about the truth. They're shutting off the seismograph. They're shutting off the seismograph. I'm going to show you one other seismogram here at Mount Hood. This seismogram here is indicative of the activity happening here at Mount Baker. This is the HHN channel here at Mount Baker, at Shuckson. These wavy lines here are indicative of magma coming into the magma chamber. Again, the seismologist turned the machine off. The area where you don't see the curvy lines here, or the wavy lines, this is where the seismologist turned off the machine. Why did they turn it off and back on? I believe they wanted to see what's going on. Just like the other seismogram. It's only showing what they want us to see, which is basically nothing. What are they trying not to show? I believe there were earthquakes happening. I believe there were earthquakes happening that they don't want us to see. Just like they're not showing us the other wavy lines here on the seismogram. I've shown you these kind of seismograms before, covered in wavy lines. The wavy lines are called VLF waves, very low frequency waves. caused by magma coming into the magma chamber of the volcano. In this case, the seismologist at Mount Baker turned it off. Turned off the computer. That's sad. We know that Mount Baker is moving. We know that Mount Baker is moving and they continue to have earthquakes. Regardless of what the seismograms say, it's an active volcano. Very much an active volcano. Let's drop down to Mount Rainier. I have several seismograms to show you here at Mount Rainier. First off, over near the top of Mount Rainier, there's a seismograph on the side of the mountain, on the south side of the mountain. The seismograph is called Camp Muir. Camp Muir. Now you can see pictures of Camp Muir on the USGS map. Okay? Demon Catman is asking me to please reduce the size so you can see it all. I think I've done that. Catherine Sigerson is asking us, is GOES working? I guess there was damaged data from water. I'm not sure. I haven't checked the GOES satellite today. Folks, this is over at Mount Rainier. Now we do have an earthquake here we want to talk about at Mount Rainier. Yes, what we're seeing here, all throughout the seismogram here, are microquakes and tremors. Up at the top right here on the black line here, very tiny tremor, probably 1.1 tremor here on the black line here. This black line is at approximately 1:13, or not 1:13. This is 8:13 p.m. last night. A tiny tremor. But this earthquake this afternoon, folks, this is approximately 12:05 p.m. this afternoon. 12:05 p.m. this afternoon. This is a 3.0 earthquake at Mount Rainier. A 3.0 earthquake at Mount Rainier today. And USGS does not show it on the map. Why not? Again, I'm going to ask, inquiring minds want to know. 3.0 earthquake here at Mount Rainier at Camp Muir. Let's take a look at Camp Sherman. Look at this, guys. This is pretty much what we've seen at Camp Sherman last week. I have to think that the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network wants us to believe there's nothing but steam coming from Mount Rainier, not like this. It doesn't happen like this. Before last week, I'd never seen anything like this. You see vertical lines with curlicues on them. The vertical lines with curlicues represent steam coming from the volcano. I know that Mount Rainier is steaming. I know it's steaming. But this would be overwhelming steam coming from the volcano. And I've never seen that. Yes, I've seen a lot of steam above Mount Rainier. I have. And I can show you steam coming from the volcano. It doesn't do this. I've never seen anything like this on seismograms before. I believe we're also being lied to here. This red symbol here, that is a magma churn signal. This red symbol here is a magma churn signal, where superheated magma causes a seismogram to show a different kind of symbol. Magma churn signals are typically 23 to 24 lines high. The magma churn signal here is the main red line here that you see. It doesn't last very long. It lasts maybe 5 seconds. But the main line goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines high. 7 lines high. That means the seismograph has been turned down 70%. The seismograph, the machine, has been turned down at least 75%. So what we're seeing here is nowhere near what we would normally see. 3 times the size here. We would see 3 times the size. And yes, we are seeing an earthquake here. Okay? Again, we're seeing this earthquake from Camp Sherman. Okay? The same earthquake we saw at Camp Muir is being seen here at Camp Sherman. This is at least a 3.2, 3.3 earthquake. At least a 3.2, 3.3 earthquake. Now, I told you about the seismic activity out to the right side of the main primary wave. The primary waves is the highest part of the earthquake signature that you see here. Also look closely at that signature. At the top and the bottom of the primary wave. This top and bottom of the primary wave have been cut off. This was a much larger earthquake, folks. As it shows here, this would be a 3.2, 3.3 earthquake. We know it's been cut off at the top and the bottom, which means it's a large earthquake. Off to the right, we have a secondary wave. That secondary wave lasted for another 30 seconds after the primary wave hit. That means this earthquake was probably at least a 3.5 to 3.7 earthquake. This earthquake at Mount Rainier today was at least a 3.5 to 3.7 quake. Nothing less. You also see some small tremors here at Mount Rainier. Okay? But again, the seismologists are lying to us, and USGS is also lying to us. That was a much larger earthquake. A much, much larger earthquake. Now let me show you another seismogram, this time from the precip tower. The precipitation tower that is southeast of Mount Rainier. Okay? Even this seismogram shows you activity. We've seen tremor activity all over this seismogram. But we're also seeing the 3.5 earthquake. The same earthquake that is showing on the other 2 seismograms. But this time the station is a bit far from the volcano. So we're not showing as strong an earthquake as we saw at Camp Sherman. Camp Sherman is on the north side of Mount Rainier. The north side of Mount Rainier. Near the top of the volcano. Okay? One more seismogram here from Mount Rainier. I want to show you Emerald Ridge. Emerald Ridge is over on the southwest side of Mount Rainier. Look what we're seeing here. We're getting a little bit different perspective in this particular seismograph. Look what we're seeing here. We're seeing a lot more tremor activity. You see horizontal lines here, and you see tiny vertical lines on the horizontal lines. The vertical lines represent seismic activity caused by magma coming into the magma chamber. So we're seeing tremors here. But we're also seeing that same earthquake that we saw at Camp Sherman. Okay? But this time, this seismogram is coming from the seismograph on the southwest side of Mount Rainier. Okay? That's what's different. You have to look at it from different perspectives. This is a seismograph on the southwest side of Mount Rainier. Okay? So we have earthquakes happening at Mount Rainier. Yes, Mount Rainier is moving. Mount Rainier is moving. Yes, I believe at some point in time, I don't know when, I don't have a crystal ball, I don't read tea leaves, but from the activity we're seeing here, this even furthers my interest in knowing that Mount Rainier is preparing for a volcanic eruption. Mount Rainier is preparing for a volcanic eruption. Okay? Let's go south. I want to show you Mount St. Helens. Good old St. Helens. This seismogram comes from East Dome Mount St. Helens. East Dome Mount St. Helens seismograph is a seismograph, a great big huge box that sits at the top of the volcano. You see seismic events happening here. Okay? You see these vertical lines. These are seismic events. Tremors and earthquakes here. Tremors and earthquakes. These shorter vertical lines are all tremors. 1.5, 1.6. 1.5, 1.6. Over here on the right-hand side on the blue line, this is 12:30 this morning. This is a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake here on the blue line on the right-hand side just after 2:30 this morning on the blue line. Now you can see areas where there's only white. That's again where they shut off the computer. They shut off the seismograph. So it's not going to show us activity. But we're also seeing some 2.0, 2.3 earthquakes here. Down here on the bottom line, on the blue line here. Yes, we have a red line off to the left-hand side here. But over here on the blue line here, on the left-hand side, this would be 2:30 this morning. I'm sorry, not 2:30 this morning, 2:30 this afternoon. Over here, it's a different story. This is 2:42 this afternoon. 2:42 this afternoon. Okay? That's a 2.4 earthquake. A 2.4 earthquake here at Mount St. Helens. You can see these other tremors here. Tremors. Mount St. Helens is moving. But this is not the only seismogram I'm going to show you here at Mount St. Helens. Because again, they're not telling us everything. They're not telling us everything by a huge lot. Let me show you Sugar Bowl at Mount Hood, or excuse me, at Mount St. Helens. Okay, that is an interruption. You heard my phone going off with that song. That song plays when someone is calling me. In this case, it's someone else trying to sell me insurance, health insurance. I've already got it. Okay? Again, this is Mount St. Helens, guys. This happens to be Sugar Bowl. This is on the north side of Mount St. Helens. Yes, we're seeing some tremors here. You see some vertical lines from the top down here. One vertical line over here on the right-hand side. Just tremors, 1.3 tremors. Over here on the black line, over towards the left center here, that's a 1.2 tremor. And just after that, after 11, no it's not, it's 9:31 this evening, yesterday evening. 9:31 yesterday evening, a 1.2 tremor. Then we go further down this sidegram on the left-hand side here. 12:30 p.m. this morning. That's a 1.3 tremor there on the left-hand side. Then we continue going down here this morning. The blue line on the left-hand side is 4:30 this morning. We come over here. This is 4:38 this morning. This is a 2.8 earthquake. 2.8 earthquake here this morning at Mount St. Helens. Now, it's interesting to note, my colleague in crime, Mary Greeley, pulled up the earthquake report from the USGS map. Not the USGS map that we showing you here tonight. It's a different map. She pulled up the seismic event, showed it to be a 2.7 earthquake. I'm showing this to be a 2.7, 2.8. Mary Greeley was spot on with the rest of it. 2.7, 2.8. Further off to the right and after that earthquake here. On the red line, this is on the red line over on the left-hand side, this would be 6:15. Over here, this is 6:37 or 6:43 p.m. Not 6:43. Let's see. This would be 6:27 p.m. this morning. 6:27 a.m. this morning. Okay, this is again 2.6 earthquake here. Just barely a 2.6 earthquake. The rest of these vertical lines are all tremors here at Mount St. Helens. Okay, so we have a 2.7, 2.8, and then over here after that, at 6:27 a.m. this morning, another 2.5, 2.6. Let me show you another seismogram here at Mount St. Helens. I'm going to show you Mount St. Helens September low, the main seismograph here at Mount St. Helens, September low. This is the main seismograph from this seismograph. Okay, you can see activity here.
Location offshore Oaxaca, Mexico, class light, magnitude 4.4, 15 minutes ago.
4.4 just offshore from Oaxaca, Mexico. I told you there were a lot of earthquakes in southern Mexico. Unreal. Earthquakes continue in southern Mexico. Again, this is September lobe seismogram. You can see SEP at the top. Okay? We'll come down here after 5 p.m. yesterday evening. 5:03 p.m. yesterday evening, we have a 1.4 tremor. Then we have a lot of other tiny tremors here. Then, let me enlarge this seismogram so you can see what I'm showing you here. On the left-hand side here, okay, this is the same earthquake I showed you earlier. Okay, this is after 12:30 this morning at Mount St. Helens. This is a 3.3, 3.5 earthquake here at Mount St. Helens, just after 12:30 this morning. Mount St. Helens is moving. Let there be no mistake about it. Mount St. Helens is moving, and we're seeing tremors here as well. But again, you're not going to see this on the USGS map. They're not going to show it to you. Now I want to show you September lobe VLF wave file. Okay? This particular seismograph is a multi-channel seismograph. This is SEP, September lobe. BDF CC01. BDF CC01 here. Look at this closely. All these wavy lines, what did I show you at Shookson at Mount Baker? I showed you the VLF file, didn't I? These wavy lines here indicate a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber here at Mount St. Helens this time. Now you can see a lot of activity here, a ton of activity here. Late last night, after 8 p.m. Between 8 p.m. and midnight. We should be seeing a lot of earthquakes and tremor activity happening, but we're not. Why are we not seeing the activity here at Mount St. Helens on the seismogram? Let's go back to that other seismogram here. Okay, I showed you a 3.5 earthquake at Mount St. Helens a minute ago. Okay, the September lobe seismogram a minute ago right here. Okay, there's a 3.3 earthquake this morning at Mount St. Helens. We should be seeing a lot of activity there. Between 8 p.m. last night, which is 2000 hours over on the left-hand side, and 12:30, 1 o'clock this morning. But we're only showing tiny tremors and the 3.3 earthquake here at Mount St. Helens. Why? That's because they're scrubbing the activity. They're not showing us the activity here. They're lying through their teeth. They are absolutely lying through their teeth. This seismogram here shows a lot of activity. Magma coming into the magma chamber here at Mount St. Helens. And yes, the most activity was between 8 p.m. last night and 12:30 this morning. 4.5 hours of activity. Yet, there's still a lot of activity before and after that, which would indicate that they're lying through their teeth. We should be seeing a lot more earthquakes than this. Yes, there's going to be an eruption at Mount St. Helens, and the magma activity here indicates that. A lot of activity here at Mount St. Helens. Let there be no mistaking what's going on here. Yes, we did see a 3.3 last night, and a lot of other activity. But again, the seismologist and the government is not going to tell us this. They're absolutely not going to tell you this. Okay? This is sad. This is very sad. As Don Patoka, one of my mods here in the chat, says, it is really about dissent or disinformation. Heaven forbid the government tells us the truth. Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens, and possibly even Mount Hood are preparing to erupt. They are preparing to erupt. Let me show you Palmer Lift at Mount Hood. Okay? We have an earthquake here, don't we? It says Palmer Lift at the top, PALM. Down here, near the bottom of this seismogram, what do we have here? On the black line, this shows us this is after 11 a.m. this morning. 11 a.m. over on the left-hand side. So this is 11:13 a.m. this morning. This is a 3.03.1 earthquake at Mount Hood. 3.03.1 earthquake at Mount Hood this morning. 11:13 a.m. Let me show you another seismogram at Mount Hood. This is from a different perspective here. Again, this is a different seismic path, a different seismogram. This is BHZ. BHZ. We're still showing that earthquake here. Two different seismograms showing the same earthquake. Mount Hood. Mount Hood, guys. They're not being honest with us. This is at the southern side of Mount Hood, halfway up the volcano. Palmer Lift is a ski resort halfway up to the top of Mount Hood. Let me show you government camp. I showed you a picture earlier on the USGS map where government camp was on the south side of the volcano. This is Timberline. The seismograph is at government camp. It's called Timberline. Let me back it out and show you the top of the seismogram. TIMB, Timberline. Now, I'm going to enlarge this so you can truly see what's going on here. The top of this seismogram starts at 4 p.m. yesterday. And you can see the magma flow through the horizontal lines. The thicker the lines, the more magma coming into the magma chamber. The thinner lines, less magma. These are called magma pulse signals. Magma pulse signals. Okay? The vertical lines you see on each of those lines are tremors here. Seismic event called tremors. 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 tremors. You can see the lines here getting thicker and getting thinner here. As the magma comes into the magma chamber, you're seeing tremors here. Why? The magma fracturing the rock inside the volcano, causing these tremors here. Each one of these lines has these tremors here. Each one of these horizontal lines has vertical tremors here. There are no earthquakes here at all at Timberline. But you can definitely see the magma coming into the magma chamber here. Magma pulse signals. Thicker the lines, the more magma coming into the magma chamber. The thinner lines, less magma coming into the magma chamber of this volcano. There is plenty of activity at Mount Hood. Plenty of activity at Mount Hood. Let me show you another seismogram here in Oregon. Okay? Central Oregon. Central Oregon. Let's go down to Sisters Volcano. Sisters Volcano. OTLW is Sisters Volcano. It's a designation for Sisters Volcano, which is a computer, the seismograph. Up at the top, you see tremors here, a lot of tremors. The horizontal lines are each 15 minutes long, from 4 p.m. after that until 5 p.m. today. Okay? Now, you see the thicker lines and you see the thinner lines. Thicker lines, again, more magma. The thinner lines, less magma coming into the magma chamber. We come down here, further down here through time here. Okay? Now, 04 here is 4 a.m. this morning. You see more and more activity after 4 a.m. Okay? You see thicker lines here as well. Now you can see horizontal or, not horizontal, rectangular or square boxes here. Ignore that. These red, blue, and black horizontal boxes are nothing but crap. It's called abstract. Why do they do that? I have no idea. But these black, blue, and red rectangular or square boxes are just that, abstract. But we can also see where we have some earthquakes here. Minor earthquakes and tremors here. Minor earthquakes and tremors. The thicker the lines, the more magma coming into the magma chamber here at Sisters Volcano. Okay? Down here at the bottom, on the red line here. Over on the left, we have 1500. The red line represents 3:15. 1500 is 3 o'clock. The red line is 3:15. We come over here to the right. Okay? 16 minutes later. Okay? This is 3:41 p.m. this afternoon. You see tremors happening here. 3:41, 3:42, 3:43, and just after 3:43 this afternoon, we have almost a 1.9, 2.0 earthquake. 1.9 tremor, 2.0 earthquake here on the red line to the right. Yes, even though the agency throws in this abstract, we can still look through the abstract and find true information. Okay? Unless the whole seismogram is full of nothing. Unless it's all full of abstract, we can still find truth. That's what's happening here at Sisters Volcano. Now, it's Sisters Volcano for a reason. It's more than one volcano. Sisters Volcano is actually 3 volcanoes, but it's only being monitored by one seismogram. 3 volcanoes being monitored by one seismogram. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. They should have one seismograph monitoring each of the volcanoes, but they're not doing that. They're not doing that for whatever reason. Okay? I don't make the rules. I just report on the activity. Now I wanted to show you one other seismogram here. I wanted to show you activity at Crater Lake. Well, guess what? They basically shut down all the seismic activity at Crater Lake. Machines don't work. The seismographs don't work. All they're showing is crap. All they're showing is abstract at Crater Lake. For whatever reason, I don't know the reason. But I have a feeling that they just don't want us to know what's going on. In the past, Crater Lake is in south-southern Oregon. In the past, there's been plenty of activity at Crater Lake. Plenty of seismic activity. Earthquakes and tremors, and a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber. But they're just not showing that. They've turned off the seismogram over in the south, or not southeast, the northeast side of Crater Lake. They've turned it completely off. Crater Lake Fleetwood Cove seismograph has been turned off. It's been turned off for over a month now, possibly even closer to 2 months. Crater Lake Mount Scott is on the southeastern side of Crater Lake. Showed nothing but crap. Abstract. Crater Lake Bunkhouse has been pretty honest with us, but today showing nothing but abstract, and basically turned off as well. They've turned off the seismogram so often, all the rest of it doesn't make any sense at all. And one other seismograph that's on Wizard Island has also shown us nothing but abstract. So they basically played a game over at Crater Lake, playing a game with all 4 seismographs for whatever reason. I don't know. But there's activity at every one of the Cascade Mountain volcanoes. Cascade Mountain volcanoes start up on the north side of the Canadian border, and they go south all the way down to Lake Shasta, Mount Shasta, and Lassen volcano to the south in Northern California. That entire area is the Cascade Mountain volcano region. I just showed you all the activity. They don't want to be honest about anything. They don't want us to know what's happening. I know why, because we're expecting a volcanic eruption. Now, later this week, I may show you more of the earthquakes, even at Mount Lassen and Mount Shasta. I'm going to try to find time to show you the seismograms at Shasta and Lassen, and even possibly even Mammoth Mountain, because you deserve to know. You deserve to know. Does anybody have any questions about anything we've talked about tonight? Anybody have any questions about anything we've shown you tonight? The last phone call I got was from my son, Paul, who's probably monitoring this program tonight. And I know Carol's also monitoring it, but they don't show up here on the chat. Mr. Maga's here. Welcome, Mr. Maga. Welcome. I haven't seen you here before. Appreciate you being here. Yes, we talked about what's happening politically here in the United States. Okay? I've shown you a lot of information tonight. I've told you why Biden's done what he's done. Trying to protect his son. Lying through his teeth before that. Getting his press secretary, Jean-Pierre, to lie through her teeth as well. They've all been lying. The entire Democratic Party is losing it. The entire Democratic Communist Party is losing it. They lied, the pundits lied, the pollsters lied through their teeth, saying that Miss Communist was ahead of Trump, which was a lie. She was never ahead of Trump anywhere throughout the United States. Everybody lied. Trump won. The Democrat communists are licking their wounds, not sure where they're going to go. But the Republicans, conservative people here in the United States, are not just grasping for straws, but we're looking for more truth. We're looking to win more. Okay? President Trump told us during his campaign that we were going to win, and we're going to continue to win, and we're going to win, win, win. We're going to win so much that we're going to get tired of winning. I don't think so. We need to win big. And we need to win for a very long period of time. We also need to get truth. We need to get justice. Until that happens, we're not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop ever. We want the truth. Guys, I will continue telling you what I find. I'll continue to share this with you because you deserve to know the truth either, or two. All of us deserve to know the truth. We're going to get the truth. We need to protect President Trump. I have a feeling the communists are going to go after President Trump even more and try to take his life. They've already tried at least twice and even 3 times, because even the Iranians have gone after President Trump as well. The Iranians said they're going to stop, though. But I don't believe that, because the Houthis attacked the Houthis in Yemen attacked our United States ships in the Mediterranean. Isn't that wild? The Houthis want to still be there and have and cause problems. The Houthis are bolstered by Iran. Yet Iran says, oh, we're going to get along, we're going to stop it. Then why did the Houthis attack United States military ships today? Wow. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any questions for me? I'm more than happy to answer questions. I want to make sure everybody understands what's going on. I just want to make sure everybody knows what's going on. That's my hope. That's what my hope is. Don Pato's asking a question. Are we ready? I hope you are. On Friday, we talked about emergency preparedness. Again, what do you have in your emergency preparedness kits? Do you have a preparedness plan? Thanks, Arnold. Send me an email about it, and we'll go to Walmart and check for it. Thank you very much, Arnold. I appreciate it. God bless you, brother. God bless you, brother. Appreciate that very much. Okay. If you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to share one more thing with you. At the end of our programs, we try to share a spiritual thought from the scriptures for you. And that's what we're doing today. I'm going over to 2 Nephi chapter 25, verse 28. And now behold, my people, you're a stiff-necked people. Wherefore I have spoken plainly unto you, that ye cannot understand. And the words which I have spoken shall stand as a testimony against you. For they are sufficient to teach any man the right way, for the right way is to believe in Christ, and to deny him not. For by denying him, you also deny the prophets and the law. Brothers and sisters, we do not need to deny Jesus Christ. What we do need to do is acknowledge Jesus Christ in our lives. Yesterday in our Sunday school class, we talked about faith, even strengthening our faith, studying the scriptures, going through the scriptures page by page, chapter by chapter, verse by verse, becoming familiar with the scriptures, knowing Jesus Christ's role in our life, understanding it, and then doing something about it. Sharing that knowledge with other people, our children, our family members, our friends and neighbors. That's what we should be doing. Acknowledging Jesus Christ acknowledging his gospel in our lives. That way we become stronger. We become stronger, we show more love to everybody else. One of the greatest commandments that Jesus gave us was to love one another as we love ourselves. Faith, love, and charity. Faith, hope, love, and charity, with an eye single to the glory of God, qualify us for the work. Faith, hope, love, and charity, brothers and sisters. Remember those things. Faith, hope, love, and charity, with an eye single to the glory of God, qualify you and me to do the work of Jesus Christ here on this earth. We are Jesus Christ's servants here on this earth, each and every one of us. Please don't forget that. Please share the gospel with everybody you know. Brothers and sisters, I love you. I care about you. I worry for you. Why? Because I see what is going on around our countries and around the world. I worry about each one of us because I care. Because I care. As Don Patoga says, are we ready? I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. Think about what I've said tonight. Take it and run with it. And know that we're winning. We're going to win. And we're going to become closer to Christ. We're going to become closer to Christ. Surgery 68 is one of my friends here. I've known Surgery for years and years as well. He and Don. I appreciate and love you all very much. I do. I hope you have a good night and a better tomorrow. If there's anything else that goes on tonight, we'll be back here to talk about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, guys, I'm going to bid you adieu. And I want to tell you I love you, and I care, and that's why we do our show here. We love and care about each other. I hope you have a good night and a better tomorrow. We will see you tomorrow, if not before, after 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Same time, same station. God be with you this day and always. Have a good night, brothers and sisters. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy. Bye-bye.